What's up, y'all? Welcome to Draw Every Day. My name is Sean, and today we're going to be drawing Nightcrawler from the X-Men. Nightcrawler is always one of my favorite X-Men. The ability to teleport is just so cool. He's got such a great design. The V shape of his costume is just an iconic silhouette, and his, 3 fingers and toes. Everything about him is great. I had actually done a drawing of him during Inktober 2017, but I sort of cheated and only drew his teleportation bubble. Before we get to the time lapse of the drawing, if you could click subscribe and then teleport on over to the like button, because we're giving away a Huion H610 Pro graphics tablet at 1,000 subs. All you need to do to be entered is to subscribe, turn on notifications, like, and leave a comment on this video, and you'll be entered to win that and some other prizes we're giving away. I'll get into it at the end of the video. Okay, like I mentioned earlier, I actually drew Nightcrawler for Inktober 2017. The word for that prompt was shy, and I thought it would be funny to have him teleporting away into his little side universe or whatever it is he did. So I basically just drew the explosion and the word BAMF and his tail popping out, and I thought that that was pretty clever. But this time I wanted to actually try to draw the man himself. I was heavily inspired by this illustration that Sam Keith did for the 1992 Marvel Universe Series 3 trading card set. This was the one that had the sort of universe scene painted behind all of the different characters. So you could lay this set of Marvel cards out on the ground and it would just create this big interconnected tapestry. It was about the coolest thing I'd ever seen, and there was definitely an afternoon that I remember laying all my cards out on the carpet in the living room, and it's just a great memory. The Marvel Masterpieces card on the left is not from the set that I'm talking about, but I just wanted to have that so that I would have a reference for Nightcrawler's costume. When I first started drawing it, I realized I wasn't exactly sure how it all went. So yeah, that's all that the reference there is doing. I really didn't take much from it other than the costume design. I'm just trying to set up a little pose. Initially, I wanted to have him resting on the border of the image, but I kind of realized it makes him too large in the frame, and it didn't look quite right. But that's the beauty of working digitally. You can always fix it in post. Trying to figure out the pose that he's ultimately going to have. While I work that out, I'm going to just let the video play, and I'll be back in a few minutes. One of my favorite things about this texture brush is drawing hair with it, because it's not exactly realistic looking. It doesn't have strands of hair, but it does sort of draw big clumps, which is generally how you would stylize hair in an illustration anyway. So it's just great for drawing the shape of the hair and getting a nice swoop and some real nice texture in there. Nightcrawler always, in my mind, had a bit of a curl, some of that Superman curl going on his forehead, so I wanted to give him sort of an interesting haircut, more interesting than the Marvel Masterpiece card I have on the side. Just tweaking some of the lighting on his face, drawing in a few more details, a couple more lines here and there, just to make it look a little more graphic and read a bit better. Detailing the leg muscles, I did decide that I didn't want them to stand out too much because I really do want to emphasize the silhouette, a la the Sam Keith illustration of Nightcrawler. Obviously my style is a little bit different. I'll never be quite as amazingly graphic as Sam Keith, but I also didn't want to go too detailed with this either. Here I am trying to figure out what to do with the tail. This took me quite a bit. I think I actually did even more versions than you saw here. It was just tricky because I'd sort of filled up a lot of the space already. There wasn't a lot of white space to go around, and you also want to be able to sort of follow his tail and be able to tell that it is a tail. Ultimately, I settled on this. My wife actually helped me decide how to make the tail go behind and then in front. Initially, I had it going in front and then behind, and this definitely looks a lot better. Generally, when you see me quote-unquote signing the painting, that means that it's the end. But this time, I actually decided I wanted to try and give Nightcrawler his correct coloring. I do like to work monochromatic, and I think that he was reading okay. I think it was pretty clear that it was Nightcrawler, but there was just something missing, and that was obviously his blue skin. The blue, red, and black and white color scheme that he has is just so iconic. So I basically duplicated the gradient map. I masked out the areas where his skin was showing on his tail and his face on the red gradient map, and then I did an inverse of that mask and applied it to a gradient map that was mapping blues onto the image. So that's basically splitting his head and his body up, and then I believe I also mask out the areas of his legs and his arms so that those are black instead of blue. Now these gradient maps are actually changing the color of the paper slightly, so I'm having to be very careful around the outer edges to let the blue not bleed too much into the paper, otherwise there would be a strange halo around it. I also just drew in that little Clark Kent swoop in Nightcrawler's hair that I was talking about, and now I'm changing his legs to black and white rather than blue and white. And with that, Nightcrawler has his appropriate coloring, and I think it really did make a big difference in terms of reading as him. I mean, it's clear as can be now. Now I'm applying a few more adjustment layers. One of them is called Color Lookup. This lets you apply various LUTs, L-U-T, that are basically combinations of adjustment layers to change the look of your drawing. The one that I used is called Foggy Night, and it makes all of the blacks a little desaturated and blue and a little not quite black. After that, I did the usual selective color adjustment layer so that I could tweak those reds and blues a little more. And then finally, I added his yellow eyes. What do you guys think of the final image? I am very happy with it. It does evoke the Sam Keith drawing that I love, and it doesn't really look that much like it, but it evokes it, and that's what I was going for. That image has been bouncing around in my head since I was a kid. Please let me know what you guys think about the final drawing in the comments. Do you guys love Nightcrawler? He was always my go-to character on the X-Men arcade games and the X-Men Sega Genesis game. You could teleport through walls and skip through areas that you would normally have to fight through. It was fantastic. Don't forget, we're also giving away a Huion H610 Pro graphics tablet at 1,000 subs. All you need to do to be entered is to subscribe, turn on notifications, like, and leave a comment on this video. That's going to enter you to win the Huion X10 Pro graphics tablet. It's also going to enter you to win the $50 Inprint gift card that we're going to be giving away at 750 subs. We got to 500 subs in less than a month, so you can expect us to be at 750 very soon. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys. I'm Sean, this is Draw Every Day, and we're going to be back with another video real soon.